Sometimes things don't go as planned in life, and sometimes we have to retake certain things that make us fall behind our peers. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode of the podcast. Welcome to today's podcast. Okay, alright everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Hahang podcast. Today I have here with me my old JC classmates. Okay, before you introduce yourself, give you a round of applause, yes? Okay, come, please introduce yourself. What's your name, what you're doing, and yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine. I just recently graduated from NUS and I'm going to be a...
Give you more
Yes,
claps.
thank you. Yeah, I'm going to be a management associate at Garena. For those of you who don't know, it's a gaming company. Yep.
So what do you study in uni?
Economics.
Wow, you're giving me one-word answers, dude. Explain what about economics. Okay, so why do you choose to study economics?
Actually I chose it because I didn't really know what I wanted to do next time, and it's a pretty versatile degree lah.
You talk closer to your mic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very good.
I repeat lah.
Okay lah.
Yeah, okay. I chose economics because I didn't really know what I wanted to do in uni. So I also didn't really know what I wanted to do in the future lah. So I chose economics because I know that it's a pretty versatile degree. Yep. And also back then I didn't know that economics in university has so much math. I thought it was kind of like how it was in JC. Yeah.
Yeah, context, she doesn't like math lah.
Yeah. I thought at most it would be a lot of statistics, but turned out it's a lot of pure math, which was my most hated part of math lah. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, so before we move into the topic, how did we meet each other? Yeah.
We were from the same class. Yeah, we met each other at orientation. So I think different schools do it differently, but in Anderson, now it's Anderson Serangoon, right?
Yeah.
So Anderson, you have your orientation with your classmates. So he was my classmate as well as my orientation group mate.
Yeah. Alright, so with that, okay, so basically why we have invited Kat, okay, rather I invited Kat here today is because if you can't tell from the title, basically what happened was actually Kat retook her A Levels for 1 year. Yeah, so which is why we kind of graduated at the same time because she entered uni 1 year late, I graduated from uni 1 year early. So if you do the math, it adds up.
Yeah, also mine is a 4-year degree and his is 3 years lah.
Yeah.
Because the math it will be 2 years ma.
No, because I said I ended uni 1 year earlier than expected.
Oh, okay.
Wow, really? Math is not your forte, dude.
Don't take economics, guys.
Okay, but anyway, I think this is the first time I used so many times this effect. But okay, yeah. So I think okay, Kat, can you just share with us why did you choose to retake A's when actually technically you didn't exactly have to, but you still chose to retake A's? Why do you do that?
I think the most direct answer would be because I couldn't get into a local uni. So talking about NUS, NTU, SMU. Yep. So back then actually my rank point was 67.5. So I think for my batch, the minimum cutoff to go into like those local U's, regardless of course, I think it's around 70. So I felt like, I kind of like fell short by only 2.5. And yeah, so I think the most direct answer would be like spite. I wanted to prove to everyone myself that I could do well enough to go into a local uni because I did pretty well in studies like all my life, like PSLE, O-level. So when I didn't do well for A-levels, it was like, oh my gosh, this can't be happening.
Yeah.
So I forced myself to retake A-levels because I wanted to prove to everyone and more importantly myself that I can do anything I set my heart out to. Yeah. And the second reason is actually because I calculated some of my finances. So my parents were willing to dedicate around 1 to 2K a month for my tuition. Yep, so I was calculating even then, and if I count the amount of university fees, like if I add on, right, it'll make sense for me to retake, and let's say I get in, the financial aspect is a lot better lah. Because I think going to a local, private uni is actually very expensive. Yeah, so I think my parents were able to afford like 1, 2K a month for my tuition, like for the short term, but if you think about long term, like 4 years, I don't think they could have like afforded a private university for me.
Yeah, and actually I'm not sure, but do private U's actually offer like scholarships? From what I know is no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't think so. So I think scholarships usually they is offered. There are two kinds. One of them is offered by the university. So I think local unis offer that. I think you were on scholarship, right?
No, my GPA, my rank was not good enough.
Oh yeah, so there's that kind, and then there's those by external like organizations. So those usually they want to offer to people studying local unis lah. So if you're from private uni, I don't think it'll be easy for you to get one. Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, like going to local U also open up the possibility of you having a scholarship as well, right?
Oh yeah. So context was I managed to secure a midterm scholarship. So cause I went to FASS, right? Economics. So the fees were around 8K a year. So I only had to pay 16K for my entire university education because I got it in year 2.
Yeah, which and compared to if, let's say you went to a private U and the cost would have been I would believe it would be like at least 2 times more, right?
Yeah, I can't actually remember how much it is, but I remember it could go up to like 3-4 times more. Yeah, depending on which university and which course. If I'm not wrong, I think like SIM is more expensive if you take those like UOL or that, because they invite like overseas
lecturers.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've actually heard how your life has actually worked out. Yeah, so that's the good part. That's the good thing, But what we want to know today is what happened in that 1 year when you retook A's, or rather even before that, how did you feel when you first saw your grades? Okay, so the context is basically like back then when we went to get our grades. I remember this because I was still botak. Because all the guys came from BMT, we went to collect our grades. Then I saw my grades, then I was okay. Then I look at you, then I not how, then you shake your head. Then I like, okay, forget it, I'm not gonna ask you anything.
Oh my gosh, I remember this. Like this is like, this unlocked some memory in me. Yeah,
like this?
Yeah, I don't know, like you just like, how is it? Then I was like,
there's no words exchanged, it just looks then.
Yeah, it was.
But we got like, it.
Like some unbang like that.
What? Hey, what the? But yeah. Then I remember like, cause the next week then I had to go back bang. I remember this cause I was like looking at all the uni stuff, right? Then I remember I was like, that was when I asked you like, oh she, how do you do? Then what's your plan? Yeah. So how do you feel at that point of time? Yeah.
I think when I first opened, right, the first reaction was shock.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this cannot be happening. Yeah, because I saw, so context, everything was like B's and C's.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a D, which is math. Yeah. So when I opened, I think, the 6 stages of grief, right? Like, denial,
you experienced
anger,
everything.
bargaining. Yes, like it was everything, but in a span of 1 day. Yeah. So when I first opened, I was like, this cannot be happening. I must be dreaming. Yeah. So then I immediately, the second step was to calculate my rank points, because it's not like stated there, right?
Yeah.
It's just your grade. So I calculated, and I remember it was like 67.5. I was like, oh my god, like my aim was 70, because I just wanted to get into a local U.
Yeah.
So I was like, this cannot be happening.
It's like you're so close, but it's so far, right?
Yes. Okay. So the thing about I think everyone will kind of have some kind of expectation on what your final grade will be. Yeah, because based on prelims, all that. So the thing is, I knew I wasn't gonna do well, but I didn't think that I was gonna do this badly.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was shock lah. So I just started crying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I remember I was like sitting outside the benches. Like if those of you who are in AJ, you all know like there's this like walkway. Yeah, there benches. I was just like sitting there.
Wait, the
crying.
one outside the library?
Yes.
Oh.
I was just crying there, and then like everyone was walking past me, and everyone knew I did badly because I was like hysterical. I was like,
I do not remember this.
Yeah, it was like, wow, it was very, very bad. I think because everyone was avoiding me.
No, but I would have to walk past that place to get out of the school.
I don't know leh.
Okay, I think cause I had to take care of my other friend lah.
But I think everyone was like, either you did like very well and then you just like go out to celebrate, or you did badly and then you just like sit in some corner in school and just like cry while your friends comfort you. But I think I was like crying so hysterically, right, that everyone was like kind of avoiding me.
Well, okay.
Yeah, so it was really, really very bad. Yeah, so that was the first reaction lah. Then I remember I took a bus back. And then I was together with this guy then. So he got 90 rank points.
I remember because they freaking said his name.
Yes, oh my gosh. And then it was so bad because we had to go and eat dinner with his parents, right?
Yeah.
Then the whole time the bus ride, right, he didn't know what to do because he was very happy he got 90 rank points. But I was just crying. And then the whole time I was just crying. Then he just sat there in silence. And he was like, pet. Yeah. Then it was even worse when we went to dinner because his parents didn't know what to do because they want to celebrate that their son got 19 rank points, but the girlfriend is just crying. Yeah.
Why do you even go for dinner?
Because I promised. Yeah, that was the plan already. Yeah.
Okay.
So okay lah, but I think after that, after you go through the shock stage, then that's where your brain starts coming in, right? And then after you calculate the rank points, and then okay, what are my options? And usually I think people, they're okay, let's go private uni. But I remember the first thought was, I'm going to retake A Levels. Yeah. Yeah, so that was about it. So after I decided I was going to retake A levels, then I did a lot of research. Like, okay, so how much does it take to retake A levels? Because you need to pay yourself.
Yeah.
Whether you can even go back to school. Because ideally, the advice I'll give you if you can go back to school, retake A levels, go back. Yeah. So I couldn't because you need to fail a subject to go, and I didn't fail anything. Yeah. So I couldn't go back to school. Then immediately you need to consider things like, okay, if you're gonna retake A levels, how is it gonna be? So you need to do all the research and stuff lah. So that's when I really like set myself up for, okay, I'm gonna retake A levels.
But your research, everything came it was just after when you made the decision lah. So why were you? Because earlier you mentioned that financially it made more financial sense to actually retake your A levels instead of going to a private U. So but all this only came after your initial decision to take A levels, right? So why were you so adamant then to take your A levels, to retake your A levels?
The most direct answer is spite lah. Like really, because I like I mentioned earlier, I've been a pretty like good student my whole life, right? So I cannot accept that I won't do well on an exam.
Yeah.
And more importantly, I think that at that age, right, you don't the only path that you consider, right, is the straight, like, academic path. So, you go to, like, even for, cause, I've been doing pretty good for O levels, right? I never even considered poly. Cause, yeah, it's just very deeply ingrained in me to go the conventional path. So, to me, like, going to a private uni is like the end of the year, like the world, which I realized in uni that it's really not, because I have a lot of friends in private uni. They are doing like a lot better than most of my local uni friends now.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't do well, I mean, you can always consider going to a private uni, but back then, I cannot accept it. And my parents also the traditional, like, boomer parents, right? So to them, going to a private uni is like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that time, I didn't manage to consider other options lah, because to me, this was the only right and correct path.
Okay, so when you did your calculations, right, where do you go to do your, like, what were the websites that you went to find out the monetary figures?
It's been so long, so honestly, I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure the MOE website, you just Google like MOE private candidates, all that. Yeah, most importantly, right, go and consult your school teachers, because they will know. They have a lot of students that retook A levels before. So go ask them for advice. And a disclaimer, right, most of them will advise you not to retake A levels, because I remember my form teacher told me like around 80% of private candidates don't do better. Because the most direct like reasoning behind it is, if you didn't manage to do well and you weren't disciplined enough to study in a school setting when there was teachers and your friends helping you, what makes you think you can do it alone? Yeah, so this advice is especially the case if you're going to army. Because if you're going to army, then you won't have time lah. Yeah.
But again, I've seen a lot of people retake their A's in army also.
Yes, so you can fall under the 20% law.
Yeah, so again, with what you mentioned, right, like how actually our form teacher actually told you like, he advised you not to take based purely on statistics, which are not wrong. No ill intention or whatever. So why were you so determined to go against these statistics? Spite.
Yes, spite. Yeah, I think not just spite, but I think it's a confidence issue also. Yeah,
what do you mean?
Because I think I always consider myself to be a pretty smart person.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how true that is lah, but yeah, so I felt that, doesn't matter if there were the 80%, I will be the 20%. And that's the kind of conviction I had when I retook A levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided that I was just gonna do it lah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when my teacher told me like, don't retake, I just told him in his face like, I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, so what I did was, I actually asked him, okay, so I already decided that I'm gonna retake A levels, nothing's gonna change my mind, so what advice do you have?
Yeah.
So he actually introduced me to a tuition teacher, economics one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was his friend in NIE. Yeah, so I, for example, went there for tuition, and then like I spoke to some of my other teachers. So for example, my school physics teacher, right, he offered that I could come back to school for consultation for free.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fun fact, like we derail a bit. This, because our same physics teacher, right? In uni hall, I got one freshie. She very raps. Then he was her teacher. She got serious, right? Cause of him also. Like, he's a very good teacher, I would say.
Yeah.
Not bad. Wow.
He's a very good teacher.
Damn.
So I actually did manage to go consult for a few times.
Oh, so you went back to AJ?
Yeah, I actually went back to consult him.
Do you see our favorite math teacher? Yes,
that was traumatizing. No lah, I didn't. Okay, I actually when I retook A levels, right, after that I actually went back to school and I gave all my teachers a gift. Yeah, even our math teacher.
Huh? As in when? The year
Teachers'
that you,
Day.
the year that you retook A levels?
Yeah, after that year, when after I retook A, I can't remember, there was Teachers' Day. I think that time I was in uni already. I went back to give a gift to all my teachers.
Huh? Serious?
Yes.
Why? Okay, this
To
first,
thank them
this
lah.
is okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
to thank them because I feel that I was very problematic in JC.
Were you?
I felt I was lah. I felt like, okay, cause context, right? We went to a 4H2 class. So everyone there was freaking smart. Yeah. It was the first time in my life I was like the dumbest in class.
No. I was the dumbest in class.
No, bro, you didn't even retake A levels. I'm the dumbest. Yeah. So actually I felt quite bad because I feel like a lot of times the teachers had to pay extra attention to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Even a math teacher, although she kept scolding me and she made me cry in class. Yeah, okay. I wouldn't say she made me cry, but I
She
cried.
did.
Okay, fine. Maybe she did. Yeah, but to me she still she made me cry because like I can't remember what's the context, but I think like she was just pressuring me to do my work and stuff like that. And then like she kept putting me in a sense on the spot because she kept asking me to answer questions that I didn't know the answer to. But to me, like, although it wasn't the right kind of nurturing environment that I needed, but it was still a kind of concern. Like, it was just tough love. Yeah, so I went back and actually like gave all my teachers a gift, especially like my physics teacher and my form teacher who gave me a lot of advice lah. Yeah.
Nice. Whoa, that's quite cool. That's quite cool. That's quite cool. Okay, then because going back to the point of how you said like what our form teacher advised you, right? If based on statistics, the reason why 80% of people who retake A's don't do as well is because if you're not disciplined in school, how sure are you that you will be disciplined in your 1 year of studying alone, right? So what was what kept you in that discipline mode?
Spite again.
Your whole 1 year, everything
Okay
like
lah.
motivation, everything was just spike. I think we just end the podcast here. You just need to have spike lah.
Yeah lah. Okay, but okay, practical steps, right? Something I learned when I was retaking is motivation is bullshit. Yeah, you don't need motivation. You just need a habit.
You don't need motivation. You just need spike. Cat 2K22.
Okay lah. I mean, even spite, right? Spite at the end of the day is based on emotions, right? Motivation is based on emotions, and your emotions will come and go.
Yeah.
So you can't expect to be disciplined based on emotions alone because some days you're gonna feel like shit lah.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need habit to keep you going. So what I recommend is you really need to have a timetable, and then you really need to stick to it. And when you don't feel like sticking to it, right? You really just need to force yourself and tell yourself like, this is a habit I want to implement. So I think that if you want to test whether you're disciplined enough to retake A levels, right, you just need to wake up every day. Like wake up at like 6, 7 a.m. every day. If you can do it for 21 days, you're ready for A levels. Like you're ready to retake A levels. So if you can't even do something as basic as waking up at 6 and 7 every day, right, which is what all your peers are doing in school, then don't even try retaking A levels because it's not gonna work out.
So do you try doing that before you retook A levels?
I did it, but I did it for 2 weeks, not 21 days. Yeah.
So what's with the extra 7 days? Just to secure the bag?
Because so I forgot which book I read. It was a book that told me that it was 21 days to build a habit.
Not 30 days?
I read it was 21. I
Okay,
can't remember
I thought
which
it was
book.
30 days to build a habit, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, 21 days to build a habit. So for me, I did it for 2 weeks because I was running out of time lah. I had to decide whether I want to retake A levels because I think the window for university applications, it was May, like you know results in May and June.
May, June, yeah.
Yeah, May and June, right? And then at that time I was interning. So I had to decide whether I want to continue my internship because I managed to extend, right? Or I want to quit and take A levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the time I only had 2 weeks to decide. So that was what I did for myself lah.
But the 2 weeks that you woke up at 6, 7 a.m., was it during your internship period?
Yes.
Don't you have to wake up at 6, 7 either way to go to work?
No, I only need to report office around 10.
Oh.
Yeah. So I wake up at 6, 7 a.m. Like I didn't study lah because I wasn't sure if I was going to retake A levels yet. But what I did was I just wake up every day and then just read stuff, do my own things. But it was about just having the willpower to wake up at 6, 7 a.m. every day. And that was something that I continued when I was retaking A levels lah.
Okay.
I mean, of course, there were days that I stumbled and then like I remember there was this one day I was so stressed. I actually slept at 5 a.m. because I was stressed about GP. Like, and it was a stress that, because I think GP is not other subjects. You can't study for it.
So GP is general paper lah.
Yeah.
It's like it's basically English, to be honest.
And it's very hard for you to say for sure you do it because, okay, so context was I did well for GP like my whole JC life, but I ended up getting a C the first time. So I was like, okay, I really, So it was the uncertainty that, so the next day I woke up at like what, 11, 12. So but I think when it comes to like habits and discipline, all this, right, don't be too hard on yourself lah. If you fail like 1-2 days, give yourself some leeway.
So what was the hardest part of that? It wasn't 1 year, right? How many months was it that you spent studying by yourself?
I started in July.
Huh? So late?
Yes, I started very late.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was still clinging on to the hope that I'll get into local U. Because 67.5 is like,
Can is can.
Can is can. But for our year, you cannot. So the year after, right, like, the year after that, right, 67.5 can go in.
Oh.
So actually, I didn't even need to retake A levels. I retake it for nothing.
But
But
okay lah, I guess you wouldn't have known at that point of time.
Yeah, you wouldn't know lah. So I was still clinging onto the hope that I will get in lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my hopes were really killed in July. Like July, I knew that okay, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started studying then law. But I think from your results till July, it was a very bad period for me also. Yeah, because everyone was getting like acceptance or that. Yeah.
So okay, we talk about 2 periods lah. Like the period up to July when you finally said, okay, I'm going to study for it. I'm going to retake A's. So when you saw all your friends getting to uni, quote unquote moving on with their lives, how was that for you?
I think it was very difficult. Yeah, because you have the feeling that you're being left behind. Yeah, and also like for example, I think my friends are all very like considerate lah. So when they get accepted and then they're very happy, right? I feel that they don't dare to be happy around me. Yeah, so which honestly it makes me feel bad. Then also a lot of times like I was just emoing, being sad, like oh my god, like why hasn't they gotten back to me? Yeah. So but I think if you're retaking A's, you just have to come to terms with it. Your friends are good friends, right? They'll just like thread around you. Yeah, not be too happy around you. Yeah, and I think it's very difficult when they were going to uni camps already, like in June, right? Uni camps start in June there.
Mine started July, yeah.
NUS starts in June if you're going to hall camps. Yeah, faculty camps are in July, but hall camps start in June.
NTU is July, August, no questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll see them posting pictures or that, and then you kind of feel a bit abandoned, like left behind because they have their new friends, right? And I think most importantly is you go to different phases in life. So they can't relate to your A-level problems anymore and you can't relate to their uni problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was it lor.
Then what about the period between July and November? A-levels in November, is it?
Yeah.
So between July and November while you were studying, because just now while we were on the way over, you were saying like it was very tough to study by yourself, right? Yeah.
I think if let's say I would talk about like retaking A-levels, right? If the summing on one word, it would just be like loneliness. You'll be very lonely lah because you don't have your friends. And then if let's say your female friends are on uni, then your male friends are on army. Then if you have a boyfriend, he will also be in army. So there'll be no one there for you. So your parents will be at work all the time. So I remember I was like feeling so like lonely and depressed, right? That the highlight of my week, right, was going to tuition. Because when I went to tuition, it was a tuition center, right? There were actually people around you. So I think that's an experience that not many people will have. Yeah, you don't know the importance of a community or having friends or just people around you to go through the same experience with you until you have been there. So really the highlight of my week, right, was going to tuition. Yeah, so every day you imagine you just wake up and then you just go to your study table and then you study, right? And then you have lunch by yourself because there's no one at home. Then you have dinner, maybe your parents will come back for dinner or that. Then you just go to sleep and then you wake up the next day and you do the same thing over and over again for like a few months. I think mentally it really screws you up. Yeah, it is. I don't think it's an experience. So if you're not retaking A's, right, let's say you're taking A-levels, right, please don't put yourself in that situation. It's something that I don't think that people should have to go through lah. Yeah, so I think I would say I felt like I was a bit depressed at that point in time. Yeah.
So what got you through like? Cause I'm pretty sure there are days where you just wanted to give up. Were there days that you rethought your decisions in retake A's?
No lah, because I'm the kind of person, if I set my heart to it, right, like I won't look back. Yeah. I'm very indecisive, but once I decide, then yeah, I really won't look back. So and by July I didn't have any options ready because I didn't even bother trying to apply to private unis.
Okay.
Yeah, so I only had that path lah. So it's just like asking a J2 like, oh, okay, maybe you can say, do you regret not going poly? Yeah, but yeah. But for me, there was no option lah. I burned all the bridges behind already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so I think you want to ask like what kept me going, right?
Yeah. But then I was afraid you just say spike law. Then the conversation just end there again.
I mean, okay lah, that was one of it lah. But I think you just need, if you're reading A's, you just tell yourself, every time you feel very depressed, you feel very tired, right? You just envision what your life would be, right, when you go to like a local uni.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know, when your friends go local uni, they post their photos, all that, right? Then you feel very sad. You just use that as a motivation lor. This could be you 1 year from now. So don't give up lah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Wow, okay. I'm just quite surprised you didn't say spike. Yeah. So what were some of the like practical tips that you have for people who are, let's say, retaking A's right now that they can incorporate into their daily life of just studying? Yeah,
I think number one, speak to your teachers in school. Yeah, really get them, ask them for advice. If you need tutors, ask them if they have any suggestions for you. So that's the first step. I think second step is you need to think, the second thing, you need to think about whether you have finances to have tuition. If you have, please get tuition. Yeah. And also, try not, if you did very badly the first round, right, try not to go to tuition centers. Get a private tutor. Because I think when I was J2, I went to a lot of tuition centers, right? And what I realized was I'm really falling behind in school. So I go to the tuition center, I'm even more behind. So everyone like knew what was going on, but I didn't. And you know, like there are always like those star tutors out there, right? Like star tutors are like those very like popular, they have like 80% A rate or this kind of thing, right? Just know that you could fall in the 20%, which is what happened to me. So don't go into those tuition centers, right, when you are not good in the subject. Get private tutors. Like for mine, like math, I got a private tutor. Yeah, so but then like econs, right, I was okay with it, so I went to a tuition center lah. So that's the second one. Yeah, then the third one is you need to know where your weak points are. So okay, you need to evaluate and reflect, right, why you did badly in the first place. So the reasons you did badly in the first place, you must cut out all those reasons. Yeah, so I mean, for example, let's say you were very distracted, like with
so
gaming.
Let's say your case. What do you have to cut out?
Okay, one of them was a bad relationship.
Wait. Sorry, this one.
Yeah, okay. But to be fair, right, I did not break up until when I retook A levels. So but what I tried to do, right, was mentally block out. So because like I remember the first time I took A levels, I always fight with him until like super late at night. Yeah, like 2-3 a.m. I got fight until 5-6 a.m. before. It was crazy. And then sometimes like when I fought with him, right, then he was a very disciplined person. So he's like, okay, 10 p.m. time to stop fighting. Then he would just block me. Yeah, which is a bit toxic lah. But I kind of like understood why also, because I think he had his priorities right. Yeah. As a student, you need to study. You don't have time to go and entertain your girlfriend's crazy like nonsense. Yeah, so I did the same thing as well. So I tried like whenever like I fight till like I'm very tired already, right? Like I crossed the 1 a.m. 2 a.m. mark, right? Just go and sleep. Yeah, just go and sleep. Don't go and entertain like all these like crazy things when you're reading A's, because your life is benching on this one exam. Like you already gave up 1 year of your life. So yeah, you need to cut out these kind of things and then cut out distractions. So let's say for example, like for me, like I always go like social media, all these, right? Then you just delete those apps or at least cut down on them. Yeah, and one of the main reasons why I felt I didn't do well was I wasn't sleeping properly. Like I lacked sleep. So I think like a lot of your seniors will kind of tell you like,
your eye bags like Prada eye bag like that.
I mean like, okay, but my eye bags is natural. Like since young I got bad eye bags. Yeah, but I remember in JC, right, wow, I was sleeping like 4 hours a day.
Wait, can I just say, isn't that normal?
Exactly. Your teacher, your seniors will tell you it's normal, right? But I don't think it's normal.
It's not?
Because I think, right, like you need to know yourself well. Some people can function without sleep. I cannot. I really cannot. Like, and that's something that I took away in uni as well. You know, like people, they'll go to hall camps until like 3, 4 a.m. and then they'll wake up. They still can wake up for breakfast at 7 a.m. to go and eat with their friends.
That's me.
Yeah. If you cannot, right, don't do it lah. Because I know people who really can like run without sleep. Like like
they just
sleep.
take naps between.
Yeah, they can, but I cannot. So for example, like the guy I was dating then, he also cannot function without sleep. So he sleeps like 9 hours a day. And he sleeps 8 hours a day. And he got 90 rank points. So you really must know yourself well. Don't listen to the kind of shit your like seniors tell you. Because everyone is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I knew I cannot function. So because I cannot function without sleep, right? I keep telling myself it's normal to sleep 4 hours, right? Yeah, so
but back then you did not know that you cannot function without sleep.
I kind of knew in my subconscious. Yes, but like, I mean, I knew I couldn't function without sleep, but I didn't attribute my bad grades to it. So when I reflected, right, I realized that I was in this cycle where I will sleep 4 hours, and I go to school, I'll sleep in lecture, and then I'll pon GP class, and I go sleep in the sick bay.
You got pon GP? You skip GP class?
You forget already, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna name drop lah. You can cut this out, but like,
no, don't name drop. Don't make me give me more work.
Okay lah.
But basically, this guy lah.
No lah, not guy lah.
We're not talking about the teacher.
my clique.
Oh.
Okay, not my teacher, my clique, right?
Don't name drop. I thought to cut out.
Okay, my
because they
clique.
follow me on Instagram.
Okay lah, but I thought it was a known thing that everyone was spawning GP to go to sick bay. Everyone knew it.
Huh? Then I go GP. No, I skip GP to do other stuff.
Okay lah, you skip GP
to do. Wait, you're talking. I only skip in second year though.
Yeah, second year. Everyone's skipping class, bro.
Yeah.
I skip GP to go and sleep.
I skip GP to do work.
Oh, I skip GP to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll go to class, I'll go lecture, and I'll sleep in lecture. I go tutor, then I will not understand what's going on in class.
Yeah.
Then I go home, right? And then I will just burn a midnight. I'll try to figure out whatever I miss in lecture to try to do tutorials, which I can't do because I don't understand why I never go lecture. What? I was sleeping in lecture. Yeah. Then it will just be a cycle of like that lah. You just every day you sleep 4 hours, then you go class, then you sleep. Yeah. So evaluate where you went wrong lah, and try to cut out. If you don't even know where you went wrong, right, then you can't make improvements. So you won't do well the second round lah. Basically,
take some time to reflect on the past 2 years lah.
And you need to be very honest with yourself. Like, because I think that circumstances do play a role in how well you do in A levels lah. So maybe like for mine, it wasn't just a bad relationship. I love family problems, and that was something that I cannot change. But I think a lot of times it's attributed to your own issues. So are you disciplined? Are you hardworking enough? Can you really say you tried your best?
Yeah. Oh, I feel like getting lectured by my moms, yeah. but yeah, I think like in general, like because I believe it's because of that period that really made you, like you said, because you were honest with yourself upon reflection, it, I would say it accelerated your growth to be more mature. Not mature in the sense of like how everybody views maturity, but mature in the sense of accepting that where you went wrong and having the courage and strength to make the necessary change to see the change in you that you want to see in your life in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think to touch on the point about like how you talk about circumstances do play a part in how well you do academically. I totally agree lah. And like what you said, there are some things you cannot control, there are some things you can control. So at the end of the day, don't be too hard on yourself. Know what is within your own control and make the changes there lah. But if there are certain things you can't control on the outside, just let it be. And just change what you can lah. Ultimately, I guess what you can do is just to, because you have control over like how you feel emotionally. Like I think your ex at 10 o'clock block, okay, no, it's starting time. Quote unquote, he cannot control the fight lah. But he can control. That's not a very good example, but I think the idea is there. Yeah. So okay, I think going back to ultimately, because there was I would say a relatively huge jump in terms of your rank points. Other than you reflecting and making the necessary changes, what else do you think happened that helped you achieve that change in your result?
I think discipline lah. Yeah, you really need to be very disciplined, and I think a very big factor is actually sleep as well. So to me, it was having a routine lah. Yeah, so you must wake up every day at a certain timing, start off your day by studying, then you just need to stick to that routine and then make sure you get enough sleep. Yeah, but I think also that was one of the factors lah. Second factors was because I think tutors are actually very important. So that was for me personally. But I also heard of stories where people, they just like do their 10-year series or that, and they still do well the second round. Yeah, so for me it was tutors as well. Yeah, and I think that was it lah. Because I feel that retaking A levels is actually not that complicated. You're basically restudying the things that you did in J1 and J2 lah. But you just make sure that your memory is refreshed, all that. So you must study every single day, and you really must be very consistent. So you must ask yourself, okay, what makes me think that I'll do as well or even better than the people who are studying in JCs? Because if they're waking up at 6 plus, reaching school at 7:30, maybe starting school at 8, like 8 o'clock, like studying, then you must be following that routine ma. Because it cannot be like they are studying 5 hours in school and then you're studying 2 hours at home. Then of course you'll lose out to them, because A levels is all about bell curve, right? So you must really have the mindset, if they're studying 5 hours, then either you study 5 hours with them but be more productive than them, or you study 7 hours lah. And the answer is always to be more productive lah. Yeah, so cut out distractions, cut out all the things that affected you during the first round of A levels, and yeah lor, just do it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the thing is that when you went to uni, before we go back to how your uni life was, I think what was your biggest takeaway from this whole experience, or what were the takeaways you had?
I feel that if you're retaking A's now, right, something that you must build up, which will help you a lot in life, is you must be very positive. And something about being positive, right, is it cannot be affected by your external circumstances. Positivity comes from within now, and like all the other qualities that you need, like resilience, all that. So you must find a way to make yourself happy, because when you're retaking A levels, right, it's honestly very depressing lah. You're just studying every day and you have no friends. Maybe your family, okay, if you've got family issues, maybe your family is not there for you. No one will be there for you. You only have yourself. So you must make yourself happy. So find joy in the tiny things, like, oh, I managed to study 2 hours today, I was productive. Then reward yourself, have a snack or something like that. Yeah, and then whenever you're feeling like very down or you feel very stressed, right, you must like envision the future, envision where you want to be. Yeah, so I think something that I realized from this whole like thing, right, is that I'm very positive lah. And when I, go to uni, every time I have something difficult, right, I always think like, this can't be as bad as that. Like retaking A levels. Retaking A levels will always be one of the worst things that I have to go through in my life. So you just tell yourself, if I can go through this, right, I can do anything.
Oh.
Yeah. So then, like even I was like telling him like just now, even when I went to university, right, you start to appreciate very small things. Like I remember the first time I went lecture with my friends, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have friends.
Yeah.
I'm like studying in school with my friends. And then like, sometimes in uni, then people will always rant and be like, oh, I'm so tired. Like, why did I even choose to come to like NUS and take this certain course? Like maybe some people regret their decision to take courses. Like some, like I have this friend who went to take like computing, and he really, really very bad at it lah. And he always complains to me. But I always tell him, do you know how many people out there, right, are retaking A levels, right, just so they can be in your position? So really appreciate what you have, lor. Because like not many people have the opportunity to go and study in NUS, or even study for that matter. So yeah, you just learn to appreciate, just be positive, all that lah. And so this is a bit of a sidetrack, but even when I go to like interviews, then they always ask you what's the biggest challenge in life, and then like I always say retaking A levels. Yeah, so it kind of gives you some substance as well. Yeah.
I think basically your biggest takeaway from this is being grateful for what you have.
Yeah, and just positivity comes from within lah. Don't be affected by circumstances. Yeah,
I definitely agree on that lah. I think especially because I think like when you go just because you do like relatively well in JC doesn't mean you do like well in university. It doesn't mean you do well in life.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if we hinge our joy, our positive outlook on life on all these things that are external, right, then they'll crumble very easily lah. Yeah. Okay, so I think the last point is that because I think like JC wise, like it was very different from your uni life, right? And I guess ultimately is that, why do you think there was a difference in like your uni life and JC life? Did it have to do with something about the 1 year where we took A's? Do you think like there was anything attributable to that?
I think one of the most important thing is mindset. Yeah, so I think that retaking A levels really changed the way I look at things. So I learned to be very appreciative and always just like, put yourself out there lah. So I feel that in JC, because long story short, right, I went to a JC that I didn't really want to go. So AJ was actually AJ was actually like my 8th and 9th choice. So 8 was science, 9 was arts. Yeah. So I remember when I got my JE, right? Like
your school posting.
Yeah, school posting, right? I was like, wait, did I ever apply for this school? So yeah, because I was so sure I'll get into my first choice. So first and second choice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because my at the time my cutoff point was
just nice.
Yeah, just nice. I could go in. Yeah, but I think our year the cutoff point changed. So when I went into AJ, right, I like rejected it. Like I went there, right, I was like, I hate this place.
Her body
I
shut
hate
down.
this school. Yeah, and then I remember I went to orientation, right, and then like everyone was just having fun. I was just like, oh my god, I hate this place. Yeah, so I was like crying every day for like the first 3 days of the orientation. Oh my gosh, I sound like a crybaby, but yeah. So I rejected it, and because I really didn't like where I was, right, it amplified to a lot of areas. Like you don't put yourself out there to make friends and find people who are like, similar to you. It's just like kind of you just like mingle with whoever's around you lah. Yeah. Then you don't want to stay in school because to study. Like I remember I hate being in school because I feel like I don't want to be here. So every time I just go home. I know I study better in school, but like I don't want to stay in school, so I just go home and sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then also you kind of like will dislike the teachers as well. Not that I don't like my teachers, I like them, but it's just that you just shut off mentally. So end up you just become a very negative person. And I think when you're a very negative person and you're just very unhappy, you can't do anything well in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it spills over to the way you treat your work, the way you treat your peers. And yeah, so that was something, I always felt like, I don't appreciate the chance I was given to study in AJ because I always felt like I belong somewhere else. Yeah, so I don't appreciate that chance, so I don't do my best in it. But when I went to university, right, because I've been through like so much, like I feel like I had no friends, I had to study myself, all that. So when I went to NUS, right, like it was really a fresh start for me. It was an opportunity. So I really put myself out there to make friends, and then I studied very hard. Yeah, so I went to 5 uni camps, which is actually a bit crazy because I think most people only go for 1 or 2.
I only go for 3.
I went for 5.
I got 5, but okay, never mind.
Yeah, because you go for hall camps.
Wait, as a freshie you went for 5?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was in camps every single week. So it's from those camps that I made some of my very lifelong friends. And yeah, actually most of my close friends now are actually from those camps. Yeah, I went for rec, I went for arts camp, econ camp, hall camp. Yeah, then arts all week. Yeah. So
hell?
yeah, so put myself out there, and then I just strive to be a happy person. Yeah, pursue things that make you happy. Like for example, I picked up dancing. Yeah, because I always wanted to. So I put myself out there. So I think when you're just a happy person, it reflects in all aspects of your life lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like for example, I study with my friends. Then even when I don't do well in school, I don't be too hard on myself about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's why I did. I enjoyed my uni experience a lot more because it's all up here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's a lot of good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, to wrap up, do you have any parting words for those who are going through the same thing as you?
I feel that if you're retaking A levels, right, this will be one of the hardest thing you have to go through lah. So just push through. If whenever you feel like down, just tell yourself, if I can do this, I can do anything. Yeah. And if you're in school right now, try not to get yourself in this position. Study while you can. Try not to waste 1 year because I think although like it still makes more financial sense than going to a private uni, right? Like like taking tuition, all that, it's very expensive. It's very taxing on your parents. Yeah, even if you're well-to-do, 1-2K a month is not easy lah. And yeah, and I'm very privileged lah that my parents are able to pay that amount. Yeah, so in your school, study hard. Don't listen to everything your seniors tell you because your seniors will tell you things like, getting straight U's is nothing, and then you just laugh about it. Like last time I used to think, oh my god, so funny, haha, I got everything U's, that kind. It's not funny. This is your grades, Yeah, don't treat it like a joke. If you're not passing things, right, you work hard. Don't treat it like a joke lah. Yeah, so and yeah, get more sleep as well, because it lack of sleep really hurts you mentally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to add on to Kat's point, cause I don't know how you did in the when we were J1 the MICTs lah. I know I got 6 rank point lah. I got 4 U's lah. So I think I agree with the point that your grades it's not something to joke about. Yeah, but at the same time it is not the end of the world if you don't do well. Always strike a balance between understanding that okay, this is important, but it is not the end of the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and if you didn't do well, right, and then somehow retaking is not option, yeah, don't be a typical Singaporean like PSLE, then go O level, A level, then go NUS, that kind. Don't have that kind of mindset, because success comes in many ways.
Yeah.
There's no one path for it. And I know of like people like, okay, not my personal friends, but my friends' friends, right? They like, even they go ITE, right? They're earning like 6 figures a year. That kind of like things. They start their own business, all that. So I think, yeah, you don't if you don't manage to get into a local uni, it's okay as well. Even if you're doing badly in a local uni, or let's say you dropped out of JC, dropped out of poly, you know, we are very privileged in Singapore. There are a lot of opportunities for you out there. So don't be too demoralized lah. Grades are not everything. But if you are already in a situation where you have to take exams, then of course don't joke about your grades. So basically, make the best of your situation lah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry, stuff. Okay, with that, we come to the end of this episode. See you in the next podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.